I genuinely did not see this coming, but the moment I sat down and really started piecing together the aftermath of what just happened at the lake, my jaw hit the floor. I have to be honest with you right out of the gate. I am losing my mind over this. I am literally vibrating with a mix of excitement, terror, and absolute disbelief. We all watched that horrific, heart-stopping moment when he was pushed into the water, and we all held our breath waiting to see if he would survive. But if you think for one single second that this near-death experience is going to magically turn Drew into a saint, you are dead wrong. I am calling it right now. This is not a redemption arc. That changed everything. This is the birth of an absolute monster, and I am not ready for the fallout. I keep thinking about the sheer look of panic, the chaos of the water, and the psychological aftermath of what just went down. Usually, in soap opera land, surviving something this incredibly traumatic resets a character's moral compass. They see the light, they forgive their bitter enemies, and they vow to live a better, more peaceful life. But not this time. Not Drew. I can feel it in my bones that he is going to wake up with nothing but pure, unadulterated vengeance running through his veins. I wasn't ready for that realization. I sat there staring at my screen, and it hit me like a freight train. He is going to be so much worse than before. He is going to be ruthless, extreme, and completely unforgiving. And the scariest part, he is going to feel completely justified in destroying every single person who ever crossed him. Let's talk about why this realization is hitting me so incredibly hard. We have watched this man suffer in unimaginable ways. We watched the paralysis, the locked-in syndrome, the absolute nightmare of being trapped in his own body while his wife actively plotted to silence him permanently. We know what Willow did, and we know the terrifying lengths she was willing to go to in order to keep her secrets buried. So, from a psychological standpoint, his fury makes complete sense. But taking that fury and weaponizing it into a crusade of destruction, that shatters every expectation I had for his recovery. He isn't just going to file for divorce and walk away. He is going to systematically dismantle Willow's entire existence. He will come for her reputation, her freedom, and most devastatingly, her children. He wants her to feel the exact same helplessness he felt while trapped in that wheelchair. And it won't just stop at Willow. That is what terrifies me the most about this impending storyline. I keep looking at the history of these characters, and I realize his hit list is going to expand exponentially. Anyone who stood by Willow, anyone who doubted him, anyone who didn't fight hard enough for him when he was vulnerable, they are all going to be in his crosshairs. He is going to burn his own world to the ground just to ensure the ashes choke his enemy. It is a level of darkness that we haven't seen from him, and frankly, it breaks my heart a little bit. We used to root for him. We used to want him to find peace and happiness. Now I am genuinely terrified of what he is capable of when he has nothing left to lose and a heart full of absolute rage. I love a good villain origin story. I really do. I love this storyline because it is gritty, it is dark, and it pushes the absolute boundaries of what these characters can endure. But something still bothers me so deeply, and it revolves entirely around Scout. Guys, I am so frustrated just thinking about it. If my theory holds up, Drew is going to revert to his absolute worst habits. And that means using his teenage daughter as a pawn in his twisted game of control. We have seen him do this before. We have seen him isolate Scout from Sam's family, cutting off her ties to the people who love her just to flex his authority and punish those who disagree with him. And if he does it again now, after everything Scout has been through, I am going to scream at my television. It is this incredible duality that makes me feel like I am losing my mind. Part of me is thrilled that the writers are taking off the kid gloves and letting Drew be this dark, vindictive force of nature. It makes for incredible edge-of-your-seat television that you simply cannot look away from. But another part of me is just so exhausted by the collateral damage that always follows. Scout doesn't deserve to be isolated from her maternal family. Sam's relatives do not deserve to be shut out of that poor girl's life just because Drew is on a warpath. By weaponizing his daughter, he is going to alienate the viewers and create a massive army of enemies within Port Charles. He is essentially digging his own grave. And while it is fascinating to watch, it is also incredibly frustrating to see a father fail his child so spectacularly just to feed his own ego and his insatiable need for revenge. I understand why he is angry. If you ask me, anyone would be furious after being betrayed by their spouse in such a horrific, life-threatening way. I get the anger. I really do. But I still think that weaponizing his survival to destroy others is a massive mistake. Maybe I'm being unfair, but there is a line between seeking justice and becoming the very monster you claim to be fighting. When he decides to cut Scout off from her family, he isn't protecting her. He is abusing his power as a parent. It is a calculated, cruel move designed to punish adults by using a child's emotional well-being as collateral damage. I cannot and will not defend that. He is crossing a line from which there is no return, and he is going to pay the ultimate price for it when his enemies finally decide to strike back. Which brings me to the twist that I cannot stop thinking about. I can't help feeling that if he goes down this path, someone is going to stop him. Someone is going to put a massive target on his back, and frankly, he is going to deserve it. But if you think Willow is going to be the one to pull the trigger or launch the next attack, I honestly think you are falling for a massive misdirection by the writers. The show is setting Willow up to be the ultimate scapegoat. She is already drowning in legal troubles. She is already looking guilty of a hit and run, thanks to Brooklyn's mess. And she is universally distrusted right now. She is the perfect patsy. The real question is, who has the motive, the intelligence, and the absolute ruthlessness to take Drew out and pin it entirely on Willow? Guys, I have to admit, the moment this name popped into my head, everything clicked into place. Alexis Davis. Think about it. Just sit with that for a second and look at the history. Alexis has every single motive in the world to want him gone. She has watched him try to control Scout. She has watched him disrespect Sam's legacy and isolate her family in the past. Alexis is fiercely protective of her blood, and she has reached her breaking point. I genuinely wasn't expecting that to be my conclusion. But the more I look at the timeline and the character dynamics, the more it makes perfect, terrifying sense. Alexis knows the law inside and out. She knows exactly how the police operate, how evidence is gathered, and how a prosecution is built. If she decides to eliminate the threat to her family, she knows exactly how to get away with it. This is where I am completely torn and experiencing a major fan conflict. Part of me wants to believe that Alexis would never cross that line. She is a brilliant lawyer, a former district attorney, a woman who respects the law even when it utterly fails her. She has fought so hard for her sobriety and her peace of mind over the years. To become a cold-blooded mastermind of an attempted murder, that destroys years of character development and moral standing. But another part of me thinks, what wouldn't a mother or grandmother do to protect her family from a tyrant? When you push a fierce protector into a corner, they bite back with everything they have. I honestly can't decide if this would be a character assassination by the writers or the most brilliant, badass evolution of Alexis Davis we have ever seen on this show. And the framing aspect, that is what really messes with my head and makes my stomach churn. If Alexis orchestrates an attack on Drew and then meticulously plants the evidence to frame Willow, she is essentially ruining another woman's life to save her own family. Now, we all know Willow is no saint right now. Willow has done terrible things, made her own bed, and pushed Drew to the brink. But framing her for a crime she didn't commit, that is incredibly dark for Alexis. It creates this intense internal struggle for me as a fan. I want to cheer for Alexis taking down a tyrant who is hurting Scout, but I feel sick to my stomach watching her orchestrate a frame-up that could send a mother to prison. It is brilliant, layered writing, but it hurts my heart to watch these characters descend into such extreme moral ambiguity. I keep thinking about how she would actually pull it off. Alexis wouldn't just leave a fingerprint or drop a convenient piece of jewelry at the crime scene. She would construct an entire narrative. She would use her intimate knowledge of the PCPD's protocols to ensure the evidence trail leads directly, undeniably, to Willow. She would manipulate timelines, exploit Willow's known animosity towards Drew, and capitalize on the fact that Willow already has a documented history of violence and desperation against him. It is a masterpiece of criminal framing, executed by a woman who spent her entire life putting criminals behind bars. The irony is just staggering to witness. It places Willow in an impossible, suffocating situation. How do you prove your innocence when the person framing you literally wrote the playbook on criminal defense and prosecution? And let's talk about Willow's absolute nightmare for a second. She is already fighting the hit and run allegations thanks to Brooke Lynn and Lucy's reckless framing plot. She is already on the verge of losing everything. Now, imagine her waking up to find the police at her door, arresting her for the attempted murder of her husband, and this time, the evidence is foolproof because it was planted by a legal genius. Willow's desperation is going to reach a fever pitch. She is going to be screaming her innocence from a jail cell, and absolutely no one is going to believe her because of her past actions. It is the ultimate karmic retribution for her lies, but it is also a terrifying psychological thriller. I am dreading watching her lose her mind as the walls close in, but I also know I won't be able to look away for a single second. We are looking at a storyline that is going to fundamentally change the fabric of Port Charles forever. A vengeful, monstrous husband who will burn the world down to get his way. A brilliant, desperate lawyer turning to the dark side to protect her grandchild. And a flawed heroine trapped in a web of perfectly executed lies with no way out. My brain is absolutely fried trying to process all the emotional implications of this theory. I am sitting here staring at my screen, feeling equal parts exhilarated and devastated by what might happen to these characters we have loved, hated, and defended for so long. Am I the only one feeling this way? Guys, what do you think? Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like we are standing on the edge of a massive cliff, and the writers are about to push us all over. Let me know in the comments if you think Alexis is truly capable of this, or if I am just losing my mind in the soap opera madness.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.